Hello everyone, I'm here today to talk to you about a horror story that I've called It's a Bug, Not a Feature. A little bit about myself to start. My name is Emmanuel Krebs. I'm a senior software engineer at Algolia. Interestingly enough, I was not trained in computer science, but in chemistry, and more precisely in theoretical chemistry. I switched to being a developer in 2012, which is quite some time ago now, and you can find me on GitHub at e.krebs, where you will find links to my other social medias and so on. Some context about the horror story I'm gonna tell. So this horror story takes place in 2015. I was a developer for 3 years at that time, and as a refresher, in 2015, the movie who won the best movie at the Oscar was Birdman. Also, Better Call Saul started its first season in 2015, and by far the meme that we remember 2015 the most for the dress. All right. More seriously, I was working on an e-commerce website at the time who sells home appliances mostly, some other stuff as well, but mostly home appliances, among which you can find some small ones which are relatively inexpensive, like a toaster, and some major ones which are way more expensive, like a fridge. The order on this website were made online, and you could choose to either pick up at the warehouse or be delivered at home. And finally, support is available through the phone. All right, this website on the tech stack side was cloud-based, which was quite new in 2015, not too much new, but still quite. The code base was .NET using C#, which is still one of my favorite language to this day. We had no unit testing, but we had some QA testing to make sure we didn't ship too many bugs. The database that is used is SQL to store clients' information and so on. And we had some caching for performance reasons. One of the things we cached were client cards, so that each time a client navigates to a new page, we didn't reach for the database and overload it. We were doing monthly deployment, meaning we were deploying a lot of code at the same time, and it was quite an event to do deployment. So yeah, it's also means it's a bit harder to find a bug among such a quantity of deployed code when there is one. And finally, the dev team was comprised of internal people and contractors. I was part of the contractors with other colleagues, and I looked like that in 2015. Okay, so my story starts on February 27, 2015. More precisely, it starts on Thursday, February 27, 2015. That afternoon, we chose to do a deployment of the month's worth of work, and we start at 2 p.m. by deploying. The way it works, we have an active website with a current version database. We deploy a new website, which has its own distinct URL from the production one. We do the database upgrade. We test the website with a new URL, and then we swap from the old one to the new one. And we keep the old one for approximately a day to make sure we can use it in case of problem. We never needed it so far, but we still did keep it for 24 hours. By 3 p.m., all that process was done and the new site was in production, and we are good. Except that 30 minutes later, the support is calling us. Okay, clients are reporting some weird behavior. If you're a developer, that's something you've never heard, obviously. Clients are never reporting weird behaviors, but to be safe, we check. We don't find anything obvious, so we start to relax until 15 minutes later, we get another call from support. Actually, we get a more precise diagnostic. Clients' cards are being randomly swapped, so we need to roll back to the old version right now. And we do. We do a quick rollback. We set the old website as active, and we can start to breathe. By 4 p.m., the rollback is done, and yeah, we're breathing. By 4:15, thanks to the more advanced information we got in the second call from the customer service, we are able to reproduce the problem. The problem is the following. When you add a product to the cart, or when you navigate through the purchase funnel, clients get a random cart. And it's really bad because that random cart can be a drastically different one than the one you have. Like you order a toaster, you get a fridge with a drastically different price as well. By 4:15 also, the support start to call clients who completed their order, especially the one who ask their order to be delivered. to make sure that we don't send orders that are wrong. So the new status of our whole stack is we have a website with an old code and a new database. The public website is working fine, there's no problem over here, but the admin tools cannot be used. They cannot be used because we have the old code for the admin tools and the new database, and those admin tools are very tied to the database. We don't take as much precaution to be backward compatible as we do with the public website. And where we start to have a real problem is that there is a sales event on Saturday where admin tools are needed. The sale event being on Saturday, it means salespeople expect to be able to do their work with the admin tools on Friday, and we are Thursday 4:30 p.m. So we need to act on that quick. By 5 p.m., we identify that clients don't get a random cart. They actually got someone else's cart. Shouldn't be surprising that it's not random. By someone else's cart, what I mean is if we have person A with a cart and person B with a cart, at some point person A inherits a cart from person B, and person B will inherit probably the cart from person C, and so on and so on. So we need to build a plan, and by 5:30 it's decided that we need to do a full rollback, including a database rollback. The problem we have is that we don't have a rollback procedure, so not a great start. And the person who can help us is our architect, but he's on holidays. So it's going to be complicated. We need to figure this out. Fortunately for us, by 6 p.m. we're able to reach our architect by phone, and he gives us some guidance so that we are able to write a rollback procedure. Thankfully for us, the database schema was versioned alongside the code for almost 6 months now, so it makes our collective life easier to deal with the database part of the rollback procedure. And my life easier in particular because I was the one in charge of that part. So not so bad. Still bad, but not as bad as it could have been. So it's rollback time. By 7 p.m., we implement the rollback on the test environment. So we do roll back the front, the admin tools, and so on. Because it's time to eat and we need our body to properly function, we then take a break and eat some pizza that was ordered. And then we do the testing of the public website, like very thoroughly. We do the test site of the admin with the tools we know will be needed by the sales team the next day. Some salespeople help us on that. All good, so by 10 p.m. we start to execute the rollback in production. We wait a bit, it didn't take us 3 hours, we wait a bit so that we know we have a drop in client usage of the website, so it doesn't hurt too much clients. So we execute the rollback in production, like public website, admin tools, database. We test everything looks good again, salespeople help us do the test, all look good, so we can go home. We're a bit outside of Paris, so there's not much public transport anymore, so I take a cab home. And finally, I can get some sleep. So it's now Friday, we are February 28th, it's 3 a.m., and I'm in my bed. I just finished my longest day of work to this day and hopefully ever. For the record, my bed is the one you can see in the background of this picture. All right, so what happens in the next days? February 28th, like a bit more than 8 hours later, and early March. Well, the fun time begins. We need to identify the bug. And to comment on that, I'm going to start with a quote that you might know. There are 2 hard things in computer science: cache invalidation, naming things, and off-by-one errors. In our case, it was cache invalidation. And in particular, it was a card cache. It embarrassingly took us 3 days to figure out what the culprit in terms of code was, and I'm gonna come to it in the next slide. But one thing you might want to know is who the guilty person was, and it was that person. Yeah, it was me. In terms of code, it was a one-liner refactor who caused the issue, and the refactor was about computing the cache key. So you don't need to know much about C#, and I'm gonna go step by step to explain you what the bug is. So our cache key was comprised of 3 parts. First, we have cart ID, then we have underscore, and then we have version number. Cart ID and version number are both numbers, So we stringify them, and then we concatenate them with the underscore. To take some example numbers, if we have 1, 2, 3 for our card key and 4 for our version number, the resulting cache key is 1, 2, 3 underscore 4. I stumbled onto this code and it looked ugly, so I knew there is a string.concat method in C#, so I took upon myself to do a small refactor and use that method. This way we can get rid of the toString and the ugly pluses sign that can be confusing when you're not used to them. And the resulting is this one, way cleaner. We use string.concat, we have 3 arguments, it's way clearer, we don't have those toString in the middle, and the result is the correct one. What went wrong, you may ask? Well, what I just presented to you is what I thought I did. What I actually did is that. And if you don't find the difference immediately, I'm not gonna blame you. It took us 3 days to find it, and the difference is over there. I forgot to replace the pluses in the original code by commas. And so because of that, instead of passing 3 arguments to our string.concat, we were passing 1 argument. And the concatenation was not done by the string.concat method, but still by the plus sign. But if we do replace those variables with our example values, it should still work. Why? We should still 1, 2, 3, got 1, 2, 3 underscore 4. Well, there's one subtlety of C# that you probably don't know, and then I'm gonna explain, and then it should be clear. When you put a character under double quotes in C#, it means it's a string. If you're observant, you've seen that I've put my underscore into a single quote, and it has a different meaning in C#. It means it's a character. And a character under the hood is a number. Meaning in our case, in the what I actually did section, underscore is actually 95. And because I got rid of the toString, you probably see where this is headed. The result is not 1, 2, 3 underscore 4, it's actually 222. And the bug is when another client has a basket ID and a version number that collide once added with another client, meaning someone get 1, 2, 4, and 3, then they swap the baskets are shared between customers. The fix was really easy to implement once we found the bug, but it was painful. All right, a few lessons to be learned, and then you can go on with your life. All right, a few lessons that can be learned from this whole horror story. The first one, I stopped using string.concat. It's a lie. It was a joke with my colleague, but I kept using it. I was just way more careful after that incident than before. The actual lesson I got from it is about refactor. It's not don't do refactor, it's actually do refactor, just do refactor mindfully. If you don't have tests for what you are refactoring, then do write some. Whether it's end-to-end, whether it's unit testing, it's valuable. In your case, like the cache key, writing unit tests for that should be painless and would have stopped us from that horrible horror story. And remember, when you write tests, you are actually writing some documentation from your code, meaning you are explaining to your future self and to your colleagues how your code should behave. And finally, the second lesson I want to talk about is deployment. Deploy, deploy, deploy. Be mindful of when you deploy. Have some deployment rules and follow them. In your case, salespeople often have events on Saturday, which they need to prepare on Friday, so don't deploy on Thursday afternoon. It's a lesson hard learned. Today in my team, for example, we don't deploy on Friday. And deploy more often. The more you deploy, the more painless it will become. In my team today, for example, we are deploying 12 times a week, meaning it's a non-event to do a deployment, and also we deploy way less code each time, so it's way easier to spot a bug. Finally, have a rollback plan. Like even a rough one, it will make things easier for you and you don't have to figure out a rollback plan in an emergency. And that's it. Thank you for attending this call and have a great day.